Hey everybody, thank you for checking in. So, in the world of liquids, we've reached a point where liquids dominate what we're doing. I wanted to, so there's a term that goes around, and it's a very good term, and there's a very valid reason. It's called jar testing. Why do we do it? What's it about? One, the reason we do it is before we mix into our sprayers, we want to know what this combination of herbicides, fertilizers, and every other amendment is going to do when it's mixed with another. There are a lot of things that mix perfectly fine. There are things that you don't want to find out what happens in your sprayer tank. It can lead to an absolute mess. When it comes to who's telling you what, unless it comes directly from the manufacturer of their specific items, I will always advise you do a jar test. Don't trust anybody else's word online. Do it for yourself. It takes minimal amount of product, and you could save yourself hundreds of dollars by doing it yourself. Jar test. Container. It doesn't have to be a jar. Whatever. You will see a lot of items out there. Do not mix with phosphates. Do not mix with this. Do not mix with that. Do your jar test if you are unsure. If you mix it into a container and it works perfectly fine, you can dump that product right into your tank and you're ready to go. If not, chuck it out into the yard. That's what I do. I did a jar test on something out of curiosity. And if I'd stuck this into my tank to spray, I'd be screwed. Jar test, jar test, jar test. If you are mixing multiple, even if you're Freight Train by Domain, I love Domain. Cranked and Freight Train mix fine. The company says so. If it doesn't, we have an issue with the company. If you mix Freight Train and another brand of a, say, 62323 or 31818, whatever the case may be, of another product, jar test it. Don't rely on the company to tell you that Freight Train mixes with Cranked to be Freight Train mixes with whatever. Test it. It takes no time at all, and you could possibly save yourself hundreds of dollars. I did a jar test of something I was curious about. Thank God. There are some messes waiting to happen if you do not take a few moments to test. You don't have to do this on the day that you're spraying. Do this in advance. Even people who travel hours to do their spraying, do this at home before you get out to the farm. It'll save you time. It'll save you headaches. It'll save you dollars. And I don't care how much money you have or make. Dollars matter. Do the simple step. That's all I'm asking. If you don't want to do it, that's on you. I'm not rich by any means. I'm fully comfortable. I am testing everything. I've got other items that I really like on their own. Mike's Mighty Micros. There's a lot of statements out there about what it mixes with and what it doesn't. I'm not taking any of them by the word. This stuff ain't cheap by any means. I love this stuff. I love Domain Seed. I have not tested Domain Liquids. I am taking their word as a company as from what I have heard and what I have experienced from their seed that their liquid is going to perform. Same thing with mics. I saw what they provide. I gave it a try. It does what I want it to do. I like it. It has a lot of micronutrients. And I will continue to use that. Whether or not I use it this year on my fall food plots or not, I've got a ton left over from what I bought it for. I will probably test on half of it. Maybe a half of one and a half of another, or one or the other. But regardless of what you see or hear, if you take a couple minutes to jar test, you can ease your mind for one, and possibly ease your wallet on screwing something up majorly. Let me give you an example. So right here, I've got Plot Start, which is a calcium product, which is meant for aligning negative or positive, not saying anything about it. This is what I have on hand. I've got a humic acid product here. One day I got curious. I wanted to see what mixing them together would do. And instead of sticking them into my sprayer, I did a jar test. This is what you're looking for when you do a jar test. If you mix water and Coke and lemonade, whatever, what do you get? You get a consistent liquid that'll mix. What I'm about to show you is what you don't want to see when you do a mix. You don't have to add any water or nothing. And you don't have to add a lot of it. Do a dose of product and see what happens. This is a prime example of why you jar test everything if you are unsure. And even if you are sure, if there's 1% doubt, jar test. This takes no time. And in the end, it won't waste any product if it works. Test. Let me show you. And it doesn't matter the mix. In what step? I'm going to take the Plot Start. This is a calcium product. It's a calcium chloride product. Doesn't matter whether it's calcium chloride or calcium carbonate. It's going to do the same thing. I'm going to take a small dose of this and I'm going to pour it into this jar. Four to 6 ounces. I ain't worried about overuse. Don't care. Plot Start. I have not altered anything with this. And this has nothing to do with the product itself. This is a simple chemistry experiment. I have humic acid that was purchased through the Safer Grow online store. I have used this all over the property. I love this stuff. I would love it with a humic and fulvic acid, but this is humic acid. I've used it all over the property. But let me show you what happens as soon as this hits the calcium product. Calcium, liquid, pure. Nothing funky there. Humic acid. The reason I found this, I like using both throughout the yard, not just on food plots. I wanted to spray this all over the yard. I was curious. You hear jar testing all over there. Why? Here's why. Just a drop. I'm gonna put a second drop in. I can see what happened, but let's put another one in. It really doesn't matter the amount you put in, it's what you put in. Can you see that? Does that look like something you want to going through your fine sprayer? Your sprayer should have a mesh. That is a mess. You will completely destroy your sprayer if that ends up in your tank. It's pretty chunky. It's like finding milk about 6 months after the fact. You don't want that going through your sprayer. Jar test, jar test, jar test. What are you losing from it? Nothing. You can only gain a perspective and knowledge of what can and cannot be mixed. Do yourself a favor and jar test everything. If this was helpful, I would appreciate the subscribes. Likes are optional. Prefer the likes, whatever. Do as you do. I'm going to be bringing you some more videos soon from some stands. And I would love to bring you some hunts, and I'm hoping to. Got some stuff ordered, hoping to bring that to you. I got one I'm really excited about from a hunt and film perspective. I've got one that I'm very excited about from a hunt perspective, but I don't have the filming lockdown on that one yet. So anyways, I appreciate everyone checking in. I hope this was helpful. This is about as helpful as I'm going to get from this. I'm going to show you food plots. I'm going to show you minerals. I'm going to show you food plots. Baiting, because Tennessee, where I'm located, baiting will be legal next year. I am doing a test supplemental feeding this year that has been so far progressing very well. But I'm waiting for our commission to give us their definition of baiting, what that entails, and we're going to go from there. I'm not a fan of baiting, but I already know what the neighbors do and will do. Based off my supplemental feeding that I've started, I did one feed block, one bag of feed, and the results have been way better than I would have ever expected, sadly. I would have preferred to put a bag of feed out and nothing touch it. Unfortunately, that's not been the result. So as feeding becomes legal here, as every other hunter around takes advantage of it, whether they do it the legal route, which requires a baiting permit, money grab by the state, or they do it what they wish because the agency cannot encroach on people's land or come onto the land without a warrant. It's a personal decision, I guess. I'm perfectly legal. I want to do everything the right way. If I lose a deer over it to someone illegal, that's on them. I want to do everything the right way. And there's no great deer around here. We're not looking at 180, 160 inch deer. My best deer has been 105 inches here. There's been some that have been pushing 140-ish. We're just not in an area that pushes big deer. So, but anyways, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna do things the right way. And hopefully we'll be bringing you some hunts. I've tagged out every year, so that's not the problem. Getting on film is the problem. So I appreciate everyone checking in. Subscribe, and we will continue to bring more. I sprayed today. I've got a plant coming, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.